Well, thank you everybody for joining us today on this tour of the Preservation Department and Lab, which is located in the basement level of the administrative building here at Seed Savers Exchange. My name is Sara Straate and I'm the Seed Historian. You'll notice that we are doing our best to follow best practices with wearing masks, and as we move through the lab talking with people, you'll notice that folks are wearing them just during their everyday duties, and you'll see as we go through the lab that folks will probably remove their mask just for the ease of this video, but we are doing our best to follow safe practices. So we're going to start by seeing some of the storage areas, because as a seed comes in from a new harvest, we want to make sure that it is properly dried down before any of the actual lab processes start. So the first room that you'll see is a drying room. And this is one of the first stops that a seed will enter as it comes into this space. This room is drying down the internal moisture content of that particular harvest. So we have everything in a breathable type of bag. This is just a cotton cloth bag. And seeds will typically hang out in here for a couple of weeks as they dry down. The amount of a harvest varies greatly, so we have a lot of different sizes of packaging that we use, and I can tell that this is squash seed just from the sound that it's making, but once the seeds have dried down to a proper moisture content, we need to test and make sure that they are sufficiently dry, which means that we will begin to test the internal moisture content of the seeds. And to do that, our germination technician, Shelja, will set up a germination test for that harvest.
Hello everyone, my name is Shelja and I'm germination technician for the collection. So my job is basically to germ test things that were grown in the field every year. And I'm also responsible for retesting our inventory. So we are on a 10-year cycle. So this year I'm testing all the inventory that was tested in 2010. And then we also have a lot of inventory packets in our freezing rooms that we haven't gotten to testing yet. So I'm also responsible for doing that. So right now I'm actually testing a corn from 2010, and you can see sometimes they do really well. So basically my job is to make sure that we are testing our inventory and making sure our seeds are good and viable so that we can preserve them as well as distribute to people who are interested in having those seeds. And I'll also be having a germination testing workshop, so if you are interested learning about how you can test your own seeds at home, so you are welcome to join.
So once we know the viability of the seeds, we are able to package them, and that takes us next to Kita, who is our inventory technician. And Kita will share some information about our storage rooms and what happens to the seeds once they go into the foil bag.
Hello, I'm Kita. I'm the inventory technician at Seed Savers Exchange. So once Shelja has tested all the seed and said it's good to go, I put it into foil packets, for some cozy foil packets for its long-term storage in our seed vault and the seed bank, and also the storage rooms. So I'm going to show you what those storage rooms look like. So this first one, we call it room 3. The temperature is about 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity is about 20 to 30%. And so a lot of these packets have been in this room for close to 20 years. Some are from the 70s when we first started our collection, and Shelja's been taking from this room and testing them to see if they're still viable, and a lot of them still are. So there's a lot of history on these shelves. The next place we're going to go is the seed bank, and it's kind of an exclusive site to see because it's locked, it's restricted access, it's also very cold, and we don't want to interrupt the storage process. So we'll go out here. temperature of the vault is 0 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is also between 20 and 30%. We got the vault in 2016, and Shelja actually, for her first few weeks of her internship, helped transfer packets from the old vault to the new vault. Yeah, it's really cool. We have to kind of get up into a parka to get to the packets. And you can only be in there for about 10 to 15 minutes at a time without freezing your fingers off. Part of my job is going in and out of these rooms a lot to get packets ready for growouts on the farm, but then also yearbook distributions. So we have something called the Exchange, where you can go online and order seeds from our collection. It's open access, and we also have a yearbook that's sent out to members of Seed Savers Exchange every year. So I go on a scavenger hunt trying to find each of the individual varieties, and then I pull them out, and a lot of times I have stacks and trays, and I send them out to anyone who likes them. And yeah, please feel free to order them, and I'll pack them and send them on your way.
So now we're going to continue on into the lab, meet a few more staff, including the head of the Preservation Department, Phil Kauth.
Hey everybody, my name is Philip Kauth, Director of Preservation at Seed Savers Exchange. I hope you're having a wonderful time on the tour and hope you find it educational. A lot of people know Seed Savers Exchange through our website and our catalog, and they order seeds every year. But what a lot of people don't know is that we have this big collection of seeds and other plant material here. It started as just a seed swap in 1975 for gardeners to exchange seeds, and over the course of 45 years we've built this large collection of over 20,000 open pollinated varieties. And there are other seed banks and gene banks around the world, but one thing that sets Seed Savers Exchange apart is that we are a complete open access to the public collection. A lot of other gene banks, they either store seeds for long term or they restrict access to researchers and educators, but here you have access to what we list in the exchange. We want people to grow these varieties in their backyards, and we want them to share the seeds that they request. That is what we take pride in. We take pride in this open access collection. We take pride in the work that we do to collect the histories, to do all the viability testing and the evaluation that you'll see in the storage, professional storage environment that we have. But at the same time, we want to create this open access collection where people can grow, they can share, and ultimately enjoy and find those varieties that they truly love, and keep growing them every year, because we want people to actually save seeds that they get from us. So enjoy the rest of the tour, and if you have more questions about preservation and the collection, please just contact us and we'll be happy to help.
So we maintain more than just seeds in the seed bank collection, and our collection also includes some vegetatively propagated crop types like potatoes. So next we're going to go and visit Emily, who is our tissue culture technician and cares for our potatoes that are in vitro.
Yeah, so like Sara said, my name is Emily, and I'm the tissue culture tech here at Seed Savers, which means I keep all of our potatoes alive in test tubes. So if you want to see what that looks like, there's just a few of them, and so they're growing up right here. There's a little green part, and then in the bottom, the yellow stuff is the media they grow in, which contain lots of nutrients and sugar and things that make them really happy. So this is just a small portion of the 700 potatoes we have here at Seed Savers, and it would be, as you can imagine, a lot of work if we had to grow out all 700 every single year in the field. So instead we keep all of them alive here in test tubes, and we'll just pick about 30 to grow out every single year, and we'll list those on the exchange to make those available to all of you. So when I'm ready to work on a potato, what I'll do is I'll choose a tube, and I'll take it here to the laminar flow hood, which in the back there's a big filter and a fan that blows clean air out so that no fungi or bacteria or anything contaminate each tube. and I will take and cut just a small piece off of the existing potato, and I'll put it in a new tube. And then once it's growing, I will let it sit here for a while until it has some big roots and is looking really happy. And then I will take it out to the growth chamber, which is basically a big fridge that stays cool and has a lot of light in it. So this is where all of our potatoes live.
So in addition to the day-to-day logistics of growing and harvesting and storing seeds, we also want to know a little bit more about what they look like. How do they taste? And so Stefan and Ellen are our evaluation team that record that information.
Hi, my name is Stefan, and I'm the Evaluation and Trials Manager at Seed Savers Exchange.
I'm Ellen, and I'm the eval tech. I just help Stefan with the evaluations.
Yeah, so the main purpose of the evaluation program is to document our collection. So we collect data on the physical characteristics of the varieties in our collection, and also assess their performance in the fields here at Heritage Farm. We also look at things like the purity of our varieties and whether or not they're true to type. And the main goal of all this is to write profiles of those varieties for the exchange and for our annual yearbook. We also try to identify outstanding varieties in our collection, which we then recommend to our seed house, and then they decide whether or not they want to include those varieties in the seed catalog in the future. Another thing we do are taste evaluations, so we're assessing the eating qualities of all the varieties. And in addition to on-site evaluations here, we also have a community science program called ADAPT, and that's where we send out varieties from our collection that we've evaluated here on the farm in previous years and thought did really well here. So we send those out to participants around the country, and they collect data on those varieties in their own gardens and in their own farms and send that data back to us. And we use that data to decide whether or not we want to include those varieties in our seed catalog. It's just another way for us to trial the varieties. So this year on the farm for evaluation, we're growing about 500 varieties across roughly 40 different crop types. The biggest crop types are usually tomatoes and beans. We're growing about 60 different varieties of tomatoes and roughly 50 different beans. We also grow a lot of different cucurbits, so squash and watermelon and melons. And a large portion of those grow outs are what we call lot checks. And lot checks are basically grow outs of small samples of seed that we harvested in the previous year, in the seed increase year. And we're checking those seeds to make sure that our seed increase grow out went as we planned, so that there wasn't any crossing, that the seeds are still true to type, that there wasn't too much genetic change that happened in that generation. And we're at the same time we're assessing performance and physical qualities of the variety. So we harvested 9 varieties of carrots a couple weeks ago, and we've been working on evaluating those roots in the lab, and Ellen can tell you a little bit more about that.
So this particular variety is called Dragon, and we grew 9 different carrot varieties this year. And when they're out in the field, we'll record certain characteristics about the leaf tops and how tall the plants are, what they look like in the field. We record that like on a laptop, and then we'll harvest all the carrots and bring them in, take a bunch of pictures, and document different characteristics about the root itself. And for each crop type, we have different descriptors and different characteristics that we're looking at. For carrots, we're looking at the size of the root, the shape, how it tapers, width, length, and then we'll cut them open and take a look at the insides and look at the core and how big the core is in relation to the rest of the carrot. And then once we've documented all the different characteristics about the root itself, we'll take a sample and just taste it. We're looking at sweetness, and I forget what else. We're looking at sweetness, crispness, even some bitterness, and then we'll give it an overall score on how it tasted. We'll chop up little bits of it, squeeze out some of the juice, and take a reading of Brix, which is more of a, it's more of an objective measurement of how sweet or how many solutes are in the juice of the carrot. Once we've done all of that, we'll take just like different slices of the carrot to show the color and the variation in a particular variety, and we'll take a scan of it that we can have on reference for future evaluations.
So we're more than halfway through the lab. We just have a couple of more folks to meet and talk to. And we will be entering my workstation area next. I share this office with 3 other staff members, Catherine and Nora, who is not here today. But just to tell you a little bit about what I do as seed historian, when the collection started back in 1975, there was a real, pertinent and earnest need to preserve the seeds themselves. And we didn't necessarily have the time to document the histories behind those seeds as we would have liked to. So today we are going back and reconnecting with the donors and the people who have shared seeds with the seed bank. And we are asking those questions such as, exactly how long has this been in your family? Why is it special to you? Often there is a sentimental reason that someone has been growing a variety year after year. Maybe it's the best thing they've ever tasted. Maybe it's because there's a family tradition that they want to maintain and recipes that they prepare using a particular variety. Sometimes they know that a particular variety is very rare and they don't want to see it go extinct. So there are many different reasons why people have contributed seeds to the collection in the past. And today we're just trying to learn more. So as Stefan and Ellen were showing us, the information that they gather will be used to create a description of that particular variety, and it will appear in the yearbook and exchange. And the information that I am gathering balances that description, because often folks might be interested in the history of a variety, and then they'll want to learn more about how it performs and what it tastes, how it tastes, in order to decide if they want to request that particular variety from the yearbook. But Catherine is our yearbook coordinator and helps to put all of that information together so that it is available to requesters.
Hi, I'm Catherine, the Exchange and Outreach Coordinator. My primary role is facilitating the exchange, which is our international seed swap. So when we started Seed Savers Exchange back in 1975, this was our very first program, and Diane and Kent Otwhaley were just trying to create a way for gardeners across the country to share their important family heirlooms or garden crops. And we still continue that program now, 45 years later. So when Seed Savers Exchange started, this was our very first edition of the exchange. You see it was called the True Seed Exchange in the first year in 1975. And it's just 3 pages long. We had 27 people that became involved and started swapping seeds with each other. Over the past 45 years, we've had hundreds and hundreds of people participate. Today, we still publish a print edition, and it looks like this. You can tell it's grown a little bit in the last 45 years. And I think I have these sticky notes in here. The crop that gardeners are most interested in, you're maybe not surprised, are tomatoes. So from this sticky note to this one, those are all tomato listings that are offered by our gardeners. Tomatoes are delicious. You know, they come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes and colors. They're easy to save seeds from. So this is the 2020 edition. We have over 400 people offering to share their own homegrown seeds, and it is over 20,000 varieties that are available in the exchange. And something that, you know, is even more amazing is that of those varieties, over 16,000 of those are unique, meaning they're only available from one person. So our preservation technique here at Seed Savers Exchange includes the seed bank and the vault that you're seeing today. That's only one branch of it, you know. Seeds are great, start in a seed bank, they're there for the long term, but what's better than having seeds in a seed bank? Having people growing them in their own gardens and preserving them where they live. So this program enables gardeners to be sharing their important seeds. They have seeds that maybe aren't available from any commercial sources, seeds that have been regionally adapted to many diverse climates and growing conditions. So it's a really exciting program to facilitate because I get to speak, you know, with people about gardening and their passions and what they're growing. And so in addition to the exchange, as the print yearbook, we also have an online website, so exchange.seedsavers.org. Check it out sometime. But in addition to the exchange, I also help facilitate some education opportunities. Seed School is one of them, which will be coming up as a virtual educational experience in September and October. Check the website out for that. I also facilitate the Seed Trade Census, which is a project we're working on updating this year. So in order to kind of keep tabs on the commercial seed trade, trends in increasing diversity, decreasing diversity, we have published a complete inventory of seeds available on the commercial seed trade, open pollinated seeds, since 1985. And so we update that every few years. 2020 is the 8th edition that we're working on. And so I've been reaching out to seed companies from across the country. We have about 450 seed companies that will be hopefully participating this year, offering lots of really exciting, unique varieties. And so we'll be compiling that and publishing it in the next year or so. So there's lots of exciting things to look out for and, you know, ways to become involved with our mission here at Seed Savers Exchange. So thanks for checking in, and I'm glad that you're able to learn a little bit more about the exchange and the other programs that I get to help with here at Seed Savers.
And the only staff member who was unavailable for today's video is Nora, our seed bank manager. And in addition to selecting the varieties from the collection that we are going to be growing on the farm for increase, Nora also facilitates some partnerships and collaborations. One thing we're pretty excited about this year is the Collard Project, and Nora has recruited over 200 growers across the country who are going to be just home gardeners who are going to be growing seeds from the Seed Savers collection and helping to evaluate those traits and characteristics and how they do. So there are a lot of different facets to the department and our work here, but hopefully next year you will have an opportunity to be able to see all of this in person. And we want to thank you for joining us today.